Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Department of Trade, Consumer Protection. We got Michael back on the show. Michael, how you doing, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And you're probably here, and like I'm here, because traveling these days is a little bit tougher if you're going to try it by air. And, it's the last part of the summer, so everybody wants to fit in those last minute trips and whatnot. But if you haven't been paying attention, it's kind of tricky out there when it comes to flying. So today we're going to talk about the woes of airlines and travel in August. What have you seen out there? The stories are definitely flying that there's definitely been a lot of travel hiccups from the airlines, passenger, you name it. But what have you guys seen as far as the reports?
Well, you are correct. We've seen the ebbs and flows of airline travel. Clearly, we've seen the reports where people are anxious to get back out and get on, out and see what they wanted to see for the past 2 years. And with that, it's going to bring some demand issues. All the other issues we've seen with supply and employment and all those things kind of tie together to create the perfect storm. And the airline industry isn't unique. And so what's happening, with DATCP is you're having certain cancellations and when they're happening and what representations are being made and what impacts those have if they weren't accurate, if they weren't true, or if they didn't hold up their end of the line. And so we're here to kind of help more on the proactive side to say, hey, if you are going to travel and you're going to go ahead and take that vacation, which you certainly should try and do, just be smart about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll dive into some of these questions. You're here to answer some of these questions. So let's start with the first one. Airlines must offer refunds for cancellations or significant delays on flights. True?
True. It does vary by carrier. Also the Department of Transportation, the FAA have certain requirements on how long you're delayed, when you push away from the gate, cancellation times, depending on what you may be eligible for. But if it's outright canceled, you certainly are entitled to that refund and any other optional fees that were charged for canceling or that delay.
And do you know, is that not paying insurance or not pay, like if you take that extra insurance or there are other guarantees, how does that play into it? And I know that's kind of loaded because everybody has different plans. And unfortunately, you don't have the book of airlines in front of you. But in general speaking terms, if they pull insurance for that, whether they have it or not, there are some, again, those minimal things that are guaranteed to you.
Yeah. So, the insurance plans often cover you having to cancel for your own reasons or any other interruptions or additional expenses that you suffer due to some type of airline interruption. As far as the ticket itself and it being canceled, the flight being canceled, all those ticketing costs and any other fees that were charged by the airline, they're required to give those back to you. The insurance policies, and you hit on it, those are going to vary by plan, by program, by company. Those are going to cover all those additional charges those additional expenses that you're going to incur due to the cancellation.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that it's for you canceling a flight versus them canceling a flight. There are two different situations there. So you might think that your insurance, is like guarantees you a flight, and that's just not the case, or whatever, you name it. It's got some complications to it, maybe. Book an early flight so you don't get delayed. Boy, do I love this one.
This one is a great one. And if you think about it, it makes complete sense. The earlier you book, the more options you're going to have throughout that day for additional flights to try and make sure you get to your destination. In addition, a lot of carriers will rely on each other. If they have a canceled flight and they need to get someone to a certain destination, they'll reach out to partner carriers and try and get you on a flight. So just because you book on one airline and they cancel, you very well may get to your destination on another airline, but you can only do that if you book an early flight because it gives you more options throughout the day.
Yeah, and you don't know what's going to happen during the day of your flight with employees, weather, you name it. We know it in Wisconsin with the weather as it gets colder out, but we're seeing it all over the place, different times. So definitely love that early one. Just to go back to the consideration of travel insurance, probably more important here is understanding what you're purchasing when you get that insurance.
Correct. You want to read the fine print on when it actually qualifies and what expenses it's that you're entitled to, and also the limits. some of these policies may offer you, lodging or meal vouchers, but in certain markets, they may only cover half of what the real expense is, especially if you're trying to get those accommodations last minute when prices are going to be quite high. So read the fine print on what you're going to receive and whether it's worth that premium that you're going to pay.
Next one's one that I have, knock on wood, to this point, have always gotten my luggage back, and I'm so grateful for that. But packing some extra clothes and the necessities, because you just don't know when it's going to get there.
Yeah, I have not been as lucky as you. I have lost my luggage a few times. So like yourself, I always carry my first day and a half's worth of clothing and the toiletries to make sure that if that does happen, I mean, usually you get your bag within the first day or two. Of course, we all know someone or even experience it ourselves where it's been much longer than that. But at least that gives you time to, if need be, have something to wear when you go out to buy anything you need to replace, should it come to that.
Well, I'm sorry that has happened to you. That is, it's terrible feeling to know when your bags don't arrive, and then you're like, oh my gosh, when is it gonna come? So that's definitely a scary time. I also didn't know this, that lost luggage. What's the responsibility that airlines have when it comes to lost luggage?
They're required to find it, which you think, great, they should. Also, if there was any damage, because it made 17 extra flights that it wasn't supposed to, and now they're required to reimburse you for the damage that was incurred while it was in their the luggage. And that's just not when it's lost. That's any time that you fly. And then they're also required to reimburse you for any expenses that you incur due to the delay of the luggage. So if you have the wedding the next day and your suit was in the bag and you had to go buy one because you're in the wedding, those types of things, in situations can be reimbursable.
Yeah, good to know. That's a really good one. This next one too. You guys are full of good ideas today here. Not that you're never, but these are just great. And because I've traveled a lot, it's like I can't believe I haven't thought of this. But calling the airline ahead of time, not rocket science, but trying to find out for delays and whatnot. But what about booking hotels nearby ahead of the game? That's a smart idea.
It is. And interestingly, I just had this happen to me about 2 months ago. I went on a trip, flight got canceled, and I did not follow this advice and had to get a hotel that evening, and ultimately ended up paying just about the rack rate because, when a flight gets canceled and it's a large, everyone's looking for a place to stay. So unfortunately, you're going to end up getting stuck paying, 2-3 times what you may pay if you book far out in advance. And if you have that cancellation policy, that's the day before, or even that day of by 4 o'clock, you're not going to lose anything.
Yeah, that I cannot tell you how many times we've been delayed or moved around because of weather or something. And that is a brilliant idea. I can think of many different options where you want to do that, but definitely make sure you check your cancellation policy on that too, to make sure you got it, because that'd be the worst thing to find out. Oh man, I missed it.
And also don't forget that you booked it and forget to cancel if you don't need it.
Why do I have this extra hotel stay? I'm calling DATCP. No, I got it. All right. We're out of time. I appreciate, these are all great tips, Michael. And, I love traveling and certainly I'm willing to put up with some of the woes, if you will. But if people want to learn more about what we talked about today or any information or reporting some of this stuff, where can they find that information at?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Wait, anytime you're online booking those tickets or looking for a vacation, just also take a swing over to our website, DATCP at wi.gov. We have a lot of tools, things you to think about as you continue to make those plans.
Yeah, this was great information, and you guys just keep surprising me each and every time we have you on here. So appreciate that.
Happy to help. Thanks.
Michael and the rest of the team will be back with us next month. Like he said, check the website for more information. And yeah, you'll find some interesting things out there on the website. I continue, he said, to be amazed on everything that they've thought of to keep us safe out there, no matter what the topic is. We appreciate them. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.